And now we're approaching the end of the book of Galatians. We're going to read from Galatians chapter 6, verse 11. And we'll see how we go, whether this turns into a one part or a two part to finish up the book. See with what large letters I have written to you with my own hand. So one of the ideas with this is that a lot of people were trying to claim they were Paul when they weren't. So sometimes Paul would dictate what he'll say because, as we saw earlier in the book, he obviously has a problem with his eyesight, so he potentially did a lot of dictation and others wrote it down. But other times he would write it with himself in large letters, probably due to the failing eyesight, so that people they knew his handwriting and go, yes, this letter came from Paul. As many as desire to make a good showing in the flesh, these would compel you to be circumcised, only that they may not suffer persecution for the cross of Christ. So here Paul is wrapping up the book that he just kept going on and on about this whole circumcision issue, where quite obviously there were people in Galatia that were trying to tell them, you have to be circumcised, you have to do this. And Paul's just like, well, they're doing it to avoid persecution themselves, not a reason. So, as I've mentioned in other videos, I personally haven't heard people saying, oh, you need to be circumcised. But 2,000 years after this has been written, so not really a common argument. But potentially you're hearing other things of people saying, oh, you have to do this. You have to do this. So maybe read this book in that sort of light of what other people are telling you have to do. Go back to the video, go back to the session, go back to the passage on the fruits of the Spirit versus the works of the flesh. So when people are telling you have to do something, as what they're telling you something that would be an outflow of spending time with God and the producing of the fruits of the Spirit, or what they're telling you, does it fall into the works of the flesh? Because that works of the flesh is many and confronting and convicting.